Welcome back to the show. I do think this is the perfect transition of talking mental health into talking about music, because it really does help. And I've seen the change in people. I've seen it in my own family members of what especially live music can do for somebody's mental health and just for their soul. And one of the best organizations to hear beautiful live music is 13 Strings Chamber Orchestra. I'm joined by principal cellist Julian Armour. Julian, welcome. It's so wonderful to see you. And Julian, I think you would probably say, that's so true for so many people. That's one thing we've probably missed throughout this pandemic, isn't it?
Well, it's incredibly true. And with the pandemic, we've really felt, people come up to me on the street and they're missing the music so much. They say, please, can we have a concert? and when we're slowly starting to have live concerts and people are reacting so positively to it. And the impact, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of books written on the impact of music on mental health and well-being and physical health too, for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. We know music therapy, art therapy, these things, they work. And there, as you said, there's a lot of research behind both of them. For people that aren't familiar with 13 Strings, give us a little history, Julian.
Well, 13 Strings has been around for a long time, since I was a kid, as a matter of fact. It was founded slightly after the National Arts Centre Orchestra was founded, and really they wanted an outlet to play, all these fantastic players that had moved to Ottawa to play in the NAC Orchestra, wanted an outlet to play this fantastic string chamber music repertoire and the great Baroque repertoire, following in the footsteps of the Academy of St. Martin in the Fields and the English Chamber Orchestra, all of the craze for that. And the music, what makes it so special is it's outside of the NAC Orchestra. It's Ottawa's professional chamber orchestra, and the repertoire is so varied. I've been playing in it for a long time, and I still love this music so much.
Well, speaking of music and concerts, you've got one coming up on May the 10th. Give me an idea of the program, the type of music people can expect at the concert.
Well, it's really optimistic, sunny music. It's a youthful piece. There are three works on the program. A youthful work by the Czech composer Janáček, very sunny. He wrote it when he was 24 years old, and it's a bubbling, positive piece. Then a very bright and sunny Italian serenade by the Austrian composer Hugo Wolf. And actually, the concert's going to open with a really fun work by the Baroque composer Telemann, who's a little less well known than Bach, but wrote fantastic music. He was a giant in his day, and this is a piece called La Bizarre, and it's a mixture of all kinds of national styles and very fun and lively. So you will be in a good mood after you go to this concert, I promise. Yeah, and Julian, I think some people, when you describe music like this, they feel a little bit intimidated, and I think that's one of the reasons why you, as a group, as 13 Strings, wanted to put together this kind of programming as well to introduce people for people that kind of are intimidated by it. How would you welcome them to this type of music? What would you say to them? Well, this is the number one problem with classical music, is that people are intimidated. They don't know what to wear to the concert. They don't know when to clap. They figure they have to know about 7 languages and have a doctorate in musicology. None of that is true. The main thing is just show up and take it in. And if you want to get a head start, look up the program. Right now on YouTube, you can find all of this music and you can listen. You kind of get it in your ear, just like pop music in the same way, is that if you've heard it a little bit, when you finally hear it live, you're going to go, wow. And the experience of hearing like really beautiful string sound live on these exquisite, instruments, many of which are 250 or 300 years old, just that gorgeous sound in a beautiful venue where you don't just hear the music, but you actually feel the vibrations and you take it in. It's a really special experience. Yeah, it makes a big difference. I know that through the pandemic, many, yourselves have been doing things virtually, but what a difference when you're in there and you're face to face with the musicians. You couldn't do this without volunteers putting on these concerts, and there's always volunteer opportunities available at 13 Strings. What sort of roles are you looking for, Julian? Well, the main thing at this point, 13 Strings is always looking for help in all kinds of ways. Number one, if you're a billionaire and you want to volunteer to write big checks to 13 Strings, that would be a good thing to volunteer to do. Well played. But ushering, helping out with things, mostly because there's no office work given the pandemic. But most volunteers for 13 Strings do kind of either stage managing or ushering at the concert. Then they can take in the concert. They get to see the musicians. They get to meet lots of really great people, meet the musicians, and it's always a really nice evening.
I'm running out of time here, but just quickly, a little teaser. You've got another concert coming up in June. I believe it's June 12th.
Yeah, this is a beautiful program. It's called Death and the Maiden, and Schubert, another Austrian composer, wrote this fantastic a string quartet called Death and the Maiden, and the central movement is this slow movement, but then it's got the most lively outer movements, and then there's a gorgeous romantic work by the Canadian composer Healy Willan, who's one of my favorites. It is absolutely beautiful. And then
Nice.
for any
I
people
hate
from
to cut you
Denmark
off, Julian.
out there.
I've just run out of time, but thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. We'll be back right after this.